Welcome. It's March 17th, 2020. I'm Joe Weston, and we're here for our weekly online global meditation for lasting peace. Once again, let me see. Those who, welcome. For those of you who have been coming on a regular basis, it's great to see you again. For those of you who are here for the first time, it's really wonderful to see you. And as always, it's a pleasure to see people from around the world, including our dear friends from Italy, who have been on the front lines of what we're now experiencing in other parts of the world, and from the Netherlands and from different parts of the United States, and perhaps others. If you are here for the first time, if you don't mind, maybe you could type in the chat, just type where you're from, so we have an idea of who's gathering and from what parts of the world. With your name, perhaps, if you like. So what we do here, for those of you who are new, is we start this with where I start with a talk to put this into context. Then we do our practice for lasting peace. And then afterwards, we have a chance to connect and share. And you get a chance to connect of what's going on with you, what's coming up, anything reflections on the meditation or on what we're discussing. And then we close with a dedication. And what we are finding now is that what started already last week is that we become a really sweet group. What's emerged is people who are coming back on a regular basis is supporting each other. Particularly last week, it was really a joy to support our friends in Italy. And I get a sense that we could be using this as a way of continuing to support each other on a more regular basis. So just to start off, this is what I call a global online meditation for lasting peace. And we've been doing this now, for those of us who started at the beginning, almost 2 years. And the premise of that was to really ask the question, who amongst us, there are many people out there who are advocating for peace. Actually, speaking of peace, if you wouldn't mind turning off your phone, your microphones for this segment would be helpful. So honoring that there are people around the world who are doing amazing work to advocate for peace and to advocate for changes in our society, and we celebrate them and we advocate that, and we wish them well. We want them to thrive and to flourish. And my question was, who are those that are holding space for lasting peace? That what happens after the quick changes that can come through a peace treaty or changes in policy, that who have trained themselves in a sense and who are holding space for the work that comes after the treaties are signed, that really propagates more for reconciliation and for healing, and to find ways that we can actually work with each other. And what I've said from the beginning is that, in a sense, that we those of us who come on this meditation, we're seeing ourselves as midwives for a system that is slowly passing, and midwives for a system that is emerging, that's already here and is slowly gaining more traction. And in a sense, that's expanded into not only midwives, but protectors and nurturers. And so what we're doing here is we gather as a community, holding space for this idea of a world where there is possibility for lasting peace and not just a temporary trend or shift in power, which requires cultivating deeper levels of what we would call resilience and fierce compassion. And in this work of cultivating, in this practice of lasting peace, what we're doing every week is we're actually within ourselves cultivating a deeper level of resilience, cultivating a deeper level of how we can hold more beings in our hearts. And that, in essence, that is the formula for lasting peace. Is the first step is, how resilient are we becoming to deal with and the challenges that continue to show up in the world as we're experiencing right now. And not only that, but how resilient are we in how we're engaging with others and in our communities. And ultimately, how resilient is you could say on some level, the nervous system of our whole global system. And that is in essence what we're looking at. So if we see ourselves as midwives, if we see ourselves as witnesses and observers, if we can stay resilient, if we can keep our hearts open, we have an opportunity to witness and to see just how resilient our heart is, the global heart is, you could say, the global system, and what can we do to in essence, support that and continue to help the system maintain a certain level of regulation. And now is the time. So what I find interesting is that we started this 2 years ago and say we're training ourselves to be able to hold space and be midwives and nurturers and protectors for shifts that are happening on our planet. Well, now is the moment. This is what we have been practicing for. So welcome everyone who's here, who holds this space and is seeking out this community of who is it that's holding the space with open hearts and with clear resilience and resourcefulness for what is unfolding for those who are unfortunately not able to. And for many of you who know me, that it's really this idea of connection's importance is that oftentimes we forget when we're doing our own personal resilience that an important part of resilience, of how the human nervous system has been built, it needs connection. We need connection. We need to be able to connect to ourselves. We need to be able to connect to our surroundings, to Mother Earth. We need to be able to connect to others. And so we're in a time where we're being challenged by that. So what can we do to up our own and upgrade our own level of resilience within ourselves and actually commit to a practice of it, trying to engage with as many people as we can on a regular basis? And there's a quote that I want to read. Well, first, one of the quotes that I often use by Gabor Mate is, safety is not the absence of danger, it's the presence of connection. Mm-hmm. So that connection is a key part of all of this. And that we can cultivate within ourselves a level of safety, a level of regulation and sense of self as we continue to engage and connect with others. And we're being forced to do that in creative ways. It's another quote by, I don't know this woman that well, Cara Moses, who I think is pretty affluent in the permaculture movement, who says, the more connected we are, the more resilient we are. The more resilient we are, the more powerful we become. When directed to the collective good, this power can be a truly liberative force. And for those of you, I know we have a great teacher and here, Ken is here, who his passion is permaculture or some sort. He has a lot to say about that. But that whole system of sustainability and resilience, not only with the earth, but within ourselves and in our social structures. And I want to just bring that up as a way of thinking of this. What if it's our civic duty to actually make a point of going out and engaging with others? At this time, you know, and I know I've lived in the Netherlands, so I know a bit about the Constitution there, and I know in other cultures, but in the American Constitution, the First Amendment is that we have the right to gather. And there's a reason for that, because we grow when we gather. We inspire each other, we challenge each other to become the best that we can be. And we share ideas that is our own ideas, and not ideas that are being fed to us or through newspapers or books. And now we're in a situation where we're going to be reliant on information coming through the World Wide Web, as I call it. And that's great that we have access to that information. But at the same time, if that's the only information we're receiving, then we're only taking on information that is being given to us. And that it's when we gather that we can take that information and find our own ways, find our own solutions, find our own beliefs. And we're in the midst of, for instance, in this country of a presidential election. And these moments are really key for us to gather in groups, to have discussions and inspire one another and hold on to our own ideas. So what if it's our civic duty to make sure we gather and have discussions about what's unfolding on this planet? What if it's our civic duty to just think for a moment of a neighbor who you know lives alone, who might not be able to move around as well, that there might be some ways that you can support them? Or someone that you know struggles with isolation and depression, who could just really use a text or a phone call. I've been saying this now a lot. And this is, if nothing else, if we're going to have a lot of time in our hands, why not use this time and use it well to cultivate within ourselves not only just that deeper level of resilience, but that deeper level of fierce compassion, that we really understand what it means when I say fierce, that we cultivate within ourselves the possibility to take all beings into our hearts, all human beings, and not just those that we like, and not just those that have similar political views as our own, and that we realize that on some level everyone is seeking connection, and that there's always going to be ways of exercising your civic duty, practicing in the deepest ways fierce compassion, as a way and using what the circumstances we're seeing as actually an advanced practice. What if this was our black belt practice? And I think each and every one of you, if you choose to come on this call on a Tuesday morning or wherever you are in the world, that you are far enough in your experience and your masters in your own way, that I honor you, and I honor you to be here. And this is an opportunity for us to support each other and stay in touch, and to continue to nurture and protect one another. So we're going to leave it at that for now as my little talk for the, maybe not so little, my talk for this session, as I use this as a motivation as I lead us into our practice. So for those of you who are here for the first time, this practice is, we call it the meditation for lasting peace. And it's based on a practice that I've developed in my methodology called respectful confrontation. And this is what I call the core practice, where we get to connect and identify where our core is, and from there cultivate deeper levels of presence and connection and resilience. For the purpose, this idea, we are resilient. One way we can know we're resilient, one way we know we are cultivating a deeper level of open-heartedness, is when we feel like we're moving through the world with a certain level of balance and flow. So this practice is reinforcing with us how we can cultivate within ourselves, in our own systems, within how we interact with each other, within how we interact with a world system, and within how we interact with nature. That as we're cultivating more balance and flow, we find that we become more peaceful, and we, in a sense, create more peace around us. We find that naturally we can have more of an impact and influence, and that we can engage with others for the purpose of collaboration. And as many of you know, with the work I'm doing with Fierce Civility, to connect with people who are different in order to find new solutions to our current problems. So in this practice, identifying your core, that's about the width of 3 fingers below your navel. So if you want to identify where that is, you could, one way to do that is if you put your fingers together, like I'm doing in the image, and you place your index finger over your navel, where your pinky resides, that's approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel. And from that point, bringing your attention inside of your body, about 1/3 of the way. So right now what you're doing is you're identifying a place in your lower belly that's approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel and 1/3 of the way into the body. And I invite you to bring your full attention to that spot at this moment. Finding a way to sit where your spine is straight, your jaw is relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, your belly is relaxed. Coming to stillness, inviting you to close your eyes. And bringing your full attention to this spot in your lower belly, what I would call your core or your center of gravity, impulse, creativity, and I would say where your personal power resides. And it is also your center of awareness, how you perceive reality. Noticing that as you stay connected to your center, become aware of the parts of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on. Chair, cushion, floor. And using those points, identifying in your body, calling them your contact points, parts of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on. And as contact points, using them as a awareness of the parts of your body that can relax in and let yourself be held. One of the greatest gifts you can give to your own nervous system is the constant reminder of you are held. And as you continue to bring your awareness to your center, from your center, become aware of your physical body. From your center, just noticing. In fact, all you're doing is listening at this point, and let your body speak to you. Let the wisdom of your body and your heart speak to you. Sensations, heartbeat, breath. And from your center, become aware of your emotions. There may be hundreds of emotions flowing through you. Which ones seem to be most on the surface? And without judgment, simply allow them to be there and to flow. Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And from your center, become aware of your thoughts. Not necessarily what are your thoughts, but how are your thoughts? Are they tight and judgmental at the moment? Are they spacious? Maintaining connection with your sense of awareness. And maintaining a connection with your core, with your center as the foundation of this practice. Personal power, awareness. Now also bringing awareness to your heart, or the middle of your chest, where your heart power resides. Compassion, respect, connection, dignity, understanding. And from your center and from your heart, ask yourself the question, how connected do I feel at this moment to something larger than myself? That might mean something spiritual to you. It might mean humanity. It might mean your highest values. Using this moment from your center and from your heart to notice how connected you are at this moment to something larger than yourself. And now with more of an awareness of yourself in this present moment, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, from your center and from your heart, take a deep, full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now with more of an awareness of yourself in this present moment, we're going to build on that to gain more awareness of what's unfolding in this present moment. So more awareness with yourself from your center and from your heart. Become aware of your surroundings, keeping your eyes closed. In all directions, behind you, above you, sounds, smells. You might be experiencing a quietness or silence you haven't heard in a long time. And from your center and from your heart, just noticing how your surroundings might be influencing you at this moment, and how you might be influencing your surroundings. And with more of an awareness of yourself and your surroundings in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, take a deep, full breath in, deep into your heart, in through your nose, and out through your mouth. And now with more awareness of yourself and your surroundings in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, become aware of those currently, presently in this meditation circle. From your center and from your heart, connecting with those in this meditation circle in various parts of the United States, North America, Italy, the Netherlands, and other parts of the world. And notice, considering how you might be influencing those in this meditation circle and how they might be influencing you, simply with your presence and your awareness and your heart. Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And now with more of an awareness of yourself, your surroundings, and all of those in this meditation circle in various parts of the planet, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Now we expand the capacity to hold more beings in our hearts as we continue with more of an awareness of yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle. From your center and from your heart, becoming aware of all human beings, beginning with those that you would label loved ones. So in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, opening your awareness and connection with those beings, human beings that you would call loved ones. They could be close by, they could be in other parts of the planet. You could see a face, you could see a group of people. Notice. And from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of those human beings on this planet that you would label stranger. My guess is for you that that might be more than 7 billion people. Is it possible for you at this moment, from your center and from your heart, to open your awareness and connection with all beings on this planet, human beings that you would label stranger? Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. Perhaps you see a face of an individual, or perhaps you think of a group. Perhaps it's a neighbor or someone on another part of the world. And from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of those human beings that you would label adversary. And how much have you cultivated a certain level of resilience and fierce compassion to be able to experience having your heart open to those that you would call adversary? You might see a particular person, you might see a group of people. Notice. And now with more of an awareness of yourself, your surroundings, those in this meditation circle, and all human beings, regardless of how you label them as loved one, stranger, or adversary, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in, deep into your heart, into your nose, in through your nose, and out through your mouth. And take a moment to just notice the efforts you've just put in with this practice, how open your heart is, expansion. And see if you can maintain that level of expansion if that's what you're experiencing. And holding all human beings in your heart. As we now bring our focus back to, so from the whole human family, bringing the human family with you in your heart. Bringing awareness now back to from your center and from your heart with those in this meditation circle. As we share that, as we all hold the human family together, each one of us in this circle. Understanding that regardless of how we label people, we're all experiencing some level of experience with this current situation. And bringing those in this meditation circle with you as you now bring your awareness to your surroundings, from your center and from your heart, bringing it back into your surroundings, your room, wherever you are. And bringing the whole human family, those in this meditation circle and your surroundings, back to yourself, in your own center and your own heart. Again, allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. Remembering you're one of those beings that you're cultivating more fierce compassion for. And before we close this practice, take a moment to just register the efforts of what you've put into this. Whatever you're experiencing, sense of balance, flow, resilience, open-heartedness, expansion, whatever your experience might be. And take a few breaths to just breathe that into your nervous system, to remember it, to anchor it. Breathe it into your cells. And as a way for us to close this practice together, let's take one final breath in. Deep in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, stretch your body, shake your body. For those of you who know me, get your tush moving. And so we started with our motivation. We did our practice. And now I'd like to open it up to anyone who wants to reflect on what I spoke of before the meditation, or reflect on what came up for you in the meditation, or just share what your experience is. You can say it in many words. You can say it in 1 or 2 words. You can type it out if that feels more comfortable.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everyone. Very briefly, Joe, I just wanted to, as always, thank you for doing this and sort of creating a space for us to come together. And on that note, the idea that gathering, I mean, obviously in light of where we are right now and probably where we're going to be for a while, gathering is a very transitional term right now. And I know that we're all scrambling, how do we gather professionally, socially, economically, how that's all going to work. And I know we're trying to come up with different ways. But what I also wanted to do is this idea of gathering, and by extension, that builds community. And one of the things I often sort of hear you talk about is a theme of the idea of building community, but also the choices we make and how we build community. And I see a lot of people making different choices. I saw Italians building community by singing, which was very beautiful and really positive. Yesterday in the parking lot of a grocery store, I saw people building community by yelling at each other and swearing is a different kind of community. And it was a very sobering reminder, and you brought me back to it this morning, is that building community is also about making choices. Mm-hmm. And the kind of community you build, I mean, we exist as a human community. It can be a lot of different versions of that. And the choices we make really define the flavor of the community and the quality of it. I really appreciate that, particularly in the current state that we're in. It's very challenging for so many people, far more challenging than I have right now in front of me. So I just wanted to thank you for that, because I think it's a good thing for me to carry forward for the week.
Thank you, Trish. Thanks. Anyone want to reflect on that, respond to that?
My name's Margie. I'm not responding particularly to that, but first of all, thank you, Barbara, for letting me know about this. I found this very helpful. Thank you. I was in another meeting last night by conference call and one on Sunday by Zoom, and one of the participants referred to this as comfort. And I think that's really the right word. I have realized that what I feel like, though I am meditating, I am trying to maintain positive energy. I feel like we're in this dystopian movie, and it's very futuristic, only it's not a movie and it's now. And then I think about refugees and homeless people who may never know if they're having a meal today. And so in a way, this is a first world problem. So I find that these meditations are very helpful to recenter, to reassess my priorities, to remind me of gratitude, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's important, yeah.
Joe, this is Ken Matson.
Hey, Ken.
Hi. And so just so you know, I broke my shoulder 4 weeks ago, so that's why.
Oh,
So I first to kind of comment on the first, I think was Trish, about building community and resilience. I've noticed I've had another teacher who have said the reason why we practice is to be prepared when the shit really shows up. And here we are. So this is doing that. And I've noticed I've had some friends who are just completely freaking out and definitely are not grounded for doing this. So this is just a really good thing for that and a good reminder. And so thank you for you and for having this and all this. And another comment about trying to make this connection. So what I have done is, because there are so many places, I'm also a musician, and there are a whole bunch of people who are musicians and do other things that they're kind of losing their livelihoods by this. And people are also finding themselves in their own homes and not being able to have any community. So what I've done, and I've included this call on it, is I've made a calendar of everything I can possibly find that's either a concert, a house concert, a meditation, a yoga, and anything for that, and tried to put it online. And so I will put it in the chat for that. So if anybody wants to see something, so I assume it's okay that I listed this on there, Joe, and I'm putting more things on there. So like I know I've got a friend who's in Portland who's doing online yoga. There's other concerts, house concerts, things. So if people could check that out, share it. And if you know of anything that I could help promote, one, people who are doing things that are losing their livelihoods, if they want to promote their things so that hopefully they'll get more people who will then be able to come on, but also community gatherings of some sort so that people can feel less alone.
thank you, Ken. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful act of service.
I got my hand up. So,
Oh, hi, Ty.
Okay. Not quite sure how to do that otherwise. I'm going to put a worksheet on. I've got a couple things in mind. I have some worksheets from the Better Angel Society, depolarizing oneself, and how to have depolarizing conversations. I think in the long term, they fit with the long-term objectives of the group. As to one of the comments, I have a slightly different take, the take of the first world problem. I think for a lot of people, as Ken had said, for a lot of people, we have third world problems. Right now, we're in America, many people, gig workers, part-time workers, are basically disposable without health care. And I think that what is making me optimistic about this isolation is that we all have, we're learning we're learning to sit with a sense of vulnerability. And hopefully that vulnerability will soften our hearts a little bit towards each other. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, I think that it's a lot. I just want to add that, that I think that that's part of what I always advocate for, is that in terms of a compassion practice, is that I believe on many levels we can always find someone who's suffering more than we are, and that in itself is a great practice. And that everyone's talking about people who won't be insured. What's on my heart are people in this country, the United States, who live in food deserts, who don't have access to fresh food. And how's that going to play out? So I think that if we think about it in terms of increasing our capacity to hold more beings in our heart, we may come up with some solutions that haven't even been thought up yet. And thanks for all the things in the chat in terms of adding links and things like that. I know Amy is doing great work with Free in DC, her blog. And just keep sharing different resources. Anyone want to share? Anyone else want to share?
Hi, this is Nicole. I don't know if you can hear me, but I have to get off the call soon. So I just wanted to say thank you, Joe. You're so beautiful. And this was such a really sweet I feel very tender. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that I know you and slowly making my way into your world. So I just wanted to express some gratitude.
Thank you, Nicole. And be sure to stay in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ken has very politely put his hand up.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Ken.
I would just echo what Nicole said very much. And I think my name was invoked, but the other Ken Madison sounds like he's a permaculturist as well, doing this wonderful connecting.
I was invoking you, Ken.
Okay.
You're the Ken. You're the Ken I was invoking.
I thought that might be the case, but sounds like there's another Ken who's doing great permaculture work. And thank you for all you're doing, Joe. It also was very, very grounding. And I was sharing with Joe recently that I was very pouty and a little pissed off about what was happening and taking things personally. And thanks to folks like you and others, I've been reconnected to the larger purpose and also holding that those emotions and being led by them as well in a way that I feel like can only be there because of past practice. And I did want to acknowledge that so many of the words that I heard about resilience and cultivation and all of the relationships and what we're doing is very much in a context for me or a scheme of permaculture. And I just encourage people to look at that. I'm going to be doing some things coming up just to share some things that I'm feeling more and more for teachers and artists and practitioners that permaculture and social permaculture, which is a kind of an offshoot, and permaculture stands for permanent culture, is a way of designing and cultivating and creating human, social, and environmental landscapes and systems that are healthier, which is what a lot of people are doing as we're forced to slow down and quote unquote social distance, creating other kinds of connections. So I appreciate you mentioning that. I think it's an amazing tool for these times, and I think it'll resonate with most people who are doing similar work. So just appreciate you giving it mention, and I'll be sharing more as well and continuing to be a part of this community and support your work as well. So thank you again. Deep bow.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. And if you can find out what Ken's doing, he's doing remarkable work. I don't know if there's any links you can put in the chat.
Yeah, I'll add some as well, and I'll be doing some more in the future. Yeah, but just really getting that started and built up. But thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ken. How are our friends from Italy?
A little bit scared.
I
just wanted, to include into this meditation a thought to the Italian doctors and paramedics that are putting their life at risk, regardless of the risk. And some of them are already losing their lives. And they left their home and people at home, and they work more than 12 hours a day in very difficult conditions. So I hope that our energy will go to them, that are faithful to the oath up to the end, like soldiers.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Joe, I know I don't want to be misunderstood, but when I made the meditation, I thought about the virus, and I thought that the virus is also teaching us a lot of things, because far-reaching, no barriers. It's crazy to say, but the attitude should be that we don't make differences and understand what's going on a very basic level, and trying to reach as far as possible with our energy and our love.
Thank you, beautiful man. Thank you for those words. And that's really what this is about, what this meditation is about, and what this idea of lasting peace, and how we can be really guides and support and witnesses for what's unfolding, is to remember we transcend these, we can transcend these things. We can transcend loved one, stranger, and adversary. We can transcend borders. And this is an opportunity for us to remember we're in a sense, we can find compassion for all beings because we all suffer, and we all suffer in different ways. And therefore we can cultivate a deeper level of love that transcends who we choose to share that with. Thank you. Any other last words? I know we're going a little bit over.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. It's incredible to see 30 plus people on this meditation, and I definitely hope we are able to remain connected going forward. Joe, two things. One is I remember you mentioning last week that we might find space and time to do this more than once a week, and I wondered if you had thought about that, and is there a possibility of that?
I'm open to it. I guess I don't know, Todd. I don't know if you have any ideas. What would be the best way to do that?
We can take that offline. I just wondered, and
Yeah.
also if there's ways that some of us can help and support with that. I just know that I'm definitely up for that. I would love to see us do this more than once a week.
Okay, I'm open to it. I'm definitely open to it.
Okay.
And then
the second.
Sorry,
go ahead, Todd.
can I just real quick, Tammy, if you're interested in gathering, please put your email in the chat, and we'll keep you up to date.
Perfect. All right.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah,
that's for everybody, right? That's for everybody.
That's for everybody. Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. And then the second thing is to Alessandra's point. I've had friends that I've talked with this week, and one of the things that I keep hearing, and my wife has said this too, is that, I just want to get out or away. And at least for me, what I'm coming to realize, or maybe not realize, but just sort of accept, is there is no out or away. There is no off the grid. I think that, there's this, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area, there's this kind of, obsession with let's go live off the grid. And if we lived off the grid, everything would be better. But I'm like, at some point you got to go into town, and you're going to be exposed to people. So, there's no sort of us getting away from each other. And I think I really appreciate that, way more than maybe I ever appreciated in my life during this time. And so, if we got to be here together, I just want to try and be as positive as possible about us being together. So I'm really grateful for this. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. I just want to close by saying, that this is a lot of what I'm writing about with Fierce Civility, is that, what's needed from us is a deeper understanding, not just an idea, that we are all interconnected and we are all interdependent. And that is an important part if we're going to find solutions to our current world problems. And perhaps maybe that's the blessing in disguise of all this, is that we're being forced. And as Tammy says, we can't get away from each other. We just can't get away from each other. And the sooner we accept that and understand that, I think that's where new solutions can emerge. And that's where we can really, truly step into a world where there is lasting peace. So we're over now. We're over 5 minutes. So thank you for staying late. I see Ninka joined us. I think Ninka didn't realize that we changed our clocks back in the US, but it's nice to see your face. Welkom. Het is heel leuk om je te zien. Volgende week. Kom volgende week. So we started with our motivation. We did our practice. We had a chance to reflect and share. And I want us to continue to remember that we can support each other. If you want to reach out to me, the website is respectfulconfrontation.com. And let's see how we can continue to create community and support one another. But as we do that, let's just, for yourself, thinking to yourself, how do we take all of this energy we've created to dedicate it? To think about people who might be suffering, who could use some of this energy. Groups of people who could use this energy. The world system, truly from your heart. Imagine, just think of the statistical miracle of the 30 plus people from around the world who have come together to create space like this. It's remarkable. And let's use that energy for the benefit of others as well as ourselves. For all beings, however they may be dancing with what's currently unfolding on this planet. To this dear planet, for its good health, and thriving. And as always, may all beings on this planet have enough fresh water to drink and food to eat. And may all governments govern from a place of wisdom as opposed to fear and greed. So let's take another final breath to close this. And again, for those of you here for the first time, thank you for coming. Hope to see you again. For those of you who have been coming on a regular basis, it's been great to cultivate this with you. Have a great week. Get in touch if you'd like to reach out. And we'll let you know if we create another time to do this, but we'll certainly see you next Tuesday. Have a great week.
Have a good week, everyone.
Be well.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Much love.